It's the Sports Peninsula podcast coming up. Chops is back from the original sports podcast to talk about this Saturday's June 15th WBA Lightweight Championship clash between Gervonta Tank Davis defending his crown against Frank the Ghost Martin. Many people have been talking about who Tank will take on after this one, but we would caution against anyone overlooking the Ghost. We'll also preview the co-main event featuring the number one ranked super middleweight contender David Benavidez as he takes on Oleksandr Gvozdyk at the light heavyweight limit of 175 pounds. Now, here is your Sports Peninsula team. Welcome, everybody, to the Sports Peninsula podcast. My name is Dave Drew, and I got Chops with me from the original sports podcast to talk about the sweet science today. Chops, how you doing?
Man, what's going on? You know how it is. Happy to be here. Love to be here, man. Love when we get together to do this, man.
Yeah, definitely. Love talking about some good fights, and we got another good one coming up here on Saturday, June 15th in Las Vegas, Nevada at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. Frank the Ghost Martin will take on Gervonta Tank Davis for the WBA lightweight championship, because we got a light heavyweight title fight that's on the co-main event. This is for the lightweight title at 135. And Chops, before we jump into the nitty gritty, so to speak, your thoughts on this one coming up here?
Man, I don't know. And I say that because I know you've been following like I have. Martin claims he sparred with one of Tank's guys, was supposed to give him some work for about 6 rounds, dropped him, stopped him in 4. Then next day he thinks they're about to run it back, just get some more work in, and then Tank gets in the ring with him. Martin says he stings, Tank gives him puts him on Quiz Street, gives him stanky leg. I haven't. Have you seen any video of this?
No.
Have you? See, I haven't, but I did see Frank on an interview, the Pivot podcast, and they were vouching for it. Now, again, I don't know what they have, or if he or one of his buddies had it on his phone. I don't know. I just haven't seen it, so I don't know if you've seen it. So, but if there's that bad blood behind it, but you know what, a Tank fight, he'll get the press conferences hype and get the anger up regardless. So I'm interested in this one. I really am, man. I'm interested.
He's been critical of the this week, at least, of the promotion of the fight. So Tank never seems too happy, but I think that's his MO. I mean, that's just how he gets up for fights, man. He's angry at the world, and nothing's going his way, and everyone's against him, and it's served him well to this point, Chop. So
if you think about it, you had Garcia, Haney, Canelo. It wasn't impressive, it wasn't, but Canelo fight. So I think Tank is sort of, maybe if Martin was a bigger name. Now, anything can happen. It could end up being a great fight. But maybe if it was a bigger name, they wouldn't have needed to do so much to produce it. But I think now, again, it may be also because we're going to talk about Benavidez and Voracek, but I think this card is like, 150, 155? It's not the normal 89, 99. I think it's like 149 or something like that to buy this pay-per-view. So maybe that's why they're having a hard time selling it. I don't know. 150 seems a lot, man. Seems a lot.
Yeah, it's on Amazon Prime. I admittedly haven't checked the price of that. It's interesting. It's really interesting. That's expensive. It's a huge card. There's at least 10 fights on the card, I believe.
Here's the thing, and you're right, and you're absolutely right. It is a huge card, but a lot of they're still your idiot fans. But fans are getting a lot smarter, and you can have 8, 10, 12 cards on a fight, but if there are 8, 10 fights of guys coming up, and you don't have at least 2 or 3 big names to fight, with that, it's hard to sell that. It really is. You know what I mean? And hell, groceries and everything is on the way up. So you're really going to have a stacked card if you're going to charge that, to me.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about that. And I wouldn't say this card, there's a lot of fights. I wouldn't say there's a lot of big name fights on this one at all. So, let's get into the scale of the tape, Chops. And I don't think there'll be any problems with these two gentlemen making weight at 135. But they're both southpaws, which is interesting. They're both undefeated. But what do you know about Martin? I know Frank's from Detroit, and I like that. But they're both southpaws. I think that's kind of interesting. I don't know. without play into this in any way, shape, or form. But your thoughts on that? Because typically, I've a lot of Tank's opponents I've seen lately have been orthodox.
Well, that's going to be the big thing right there. How will they both adjust to fighting southpaws? You know what I mean? And is there indeed coming up? Normally, when you fight, when you're a southpaw is fighting a traditional guy? No, actually, now forgive that part. And it's going to worry about, foot placement is going to be huge. And they say outside foot wins. But I've been watching a lot of southpaws lately. I don't know, D, if guys pay. The rules are the rules. And when I say technique is technique.
Yeah.
But a lot of these fighters are relying on their speed and their power, where we don't see a whole lot of technique as much as more. Like when I say that, you're not seeing as many guys working behind the jab or setting up nice combinations. You'll see the bow and arrow punch. You'll see guys that are looking for that one heavy punch. But 1 + 1 is always going to equal 2. So I'm interested to see if these guys go back to technique, who's got the foot placement, because if what Martin is saying is true, that's got to weigh in the back of his mind. Both minds, really, because he realizes he can still hurt Gervonta. Gervonta's thinking, wow, this guy hit me and he's got speed. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm interested to see how it comes down to the foot placement, number one, and how do guys react to fighting a southpaw, which they don't normally do. They're the southpaw that gives the other guys problems.
Yeah, I think traditionally, and I don't know why, to be honest with you, I really don't know why this is. It seemed like a lot of southpaw fighters just really had poor form in terms of they led with their face. Yes. And you don't see that often anymore. I'll be honest with you. I mean, it's just that. I mean, in the 1950s, baseball players sold vacuum cleaners door to door in the off season.
Yeah.
Things have changed, and I don't think there's that sloppiness anymore.
But also back then, guys were more hard-nosed, for lack of a better term. So they're like this. They want to come in. They want to get in there with you. You know what I mean? So, and you don't see as many clash of heads now that you'll still see them. But I remember that being pretty big, where guys would get clash of heads where they're fighting. They could fight it in a phone booth. Where now, even like when you were Mayweather and some of these guys who don't, Crawford, who don't dance a lot like Sugar Ray, they're there, but they're backing up. So they're not face to face with you. I don't know if they're trying to buy that so they can see the shot better, or they just don't want to take the abuse. You know what I mean? So guys aren't leading with their head as much like they used to, but the schematics on how they fight have changed. So I think that's definitely played a part in it.
Yeah, I mean, when we look at the size of these two fighters, Martin's got about 2.5-inch height advantage, which isn't tremendous. Surprisingly, the reach is almost dead even. Tank's at 67.5, Martin's at 68. That for their last fight, that was their measurements. They're both 29 years old. We know Davis 29-0 with 27 knockouts. That's impressive. Martin 18-0 with 12 knockouts as well. We'll take a look at their resumes shortly here, but we got a couple undefeated fighters here who, and like you said, there's a little bit of history here, so it's gonna be interesting. But let's talk about Tank's notable fights, and he's fought some good ones here, Chops. I mean, obviously not everyone we'd like to have seen him fight to this point, but he's taking care of business. Your thoughts on Tank's resume, at least his last few fights?
Oh yeah. He's got some names on there. He has some names on there. He really does. So I think he has same age, but we're going to get into ages about something a little bit later in the show that I want to talk about. But same age, 10 more fights. Both have somebody's always got to go. So we'll see how that works out. But across the board, he has more experience. You know what I mean? So we'll see if that plays a part.
Yeah, I mean, I saw all of these fights, honestly. Cruz gave him the most trouble, and that's ironically the one fight he didn't finish with a KO of some kind. But Cruz is a different type of fighter. He's small like Tank, and he's definitely aggressive, and it gave him problems. But he ultimately handled business. No controversy there in that decision. Yeah. What he did to Garcia with the body shot, impressive. He had Santa Cruz knocked out before he hit the canvas. His leg was bent up underneath him. I mean, that is the nastiest uppercut I've seen in long time.
Brutal.
And then Gamboa getting that win in the 12th there after he had beaten Pacquiao very impressively. That was something. So, let's see what happens. But let's look at Frank Martin's resume. And although he's undefeated, Chops, I didn't recognize a lot of names on that resume, and I think that's part of the problem.
Yeah. Here's the thing, and it can work in either. It can work in it. Martin could work in his favor, and I say that because think about it. He's gotten a title shot with not a lot of big names on his record, and you have to realize there's a couple other fights that we could see at 130 that would make more sense and draw the 150 for this pay-per-view. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But having said that, is Tank taking him as serious as he's taking some of those other guys on the list? Which, if that history is true, yes, he is. You know what I mean? And you got to believe Tank is the fighter that he's always going to take his fight serious. But also in the same token, we don't know how Martin will react if he's pushed. But neither does Gervonta. He doesn't know if Martin will wilter. Will he, you know what I mean? Will he wither if he's pushed? Will he rise to the occasion if he's pushed? None of that. That's all the great unknown. We don't know. So I'm interested to see how this plays out on a different levels.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched some tape on Martin. I've seen a few of his fights on tape, and we'll talk about that and his keys to victory. Right now, let's talk about Tank. What does Tank have to do to take care of business in this fight, Chops? Because like I said in the intro, there's a lot of people talking about what's next after this one. Yeah, but to your point, Tank, I don't think Tank's going to overlook Frank Martin.
Exactly. Here's the thing, man. He's got to be himself. Just being honest with you, he's got to be himself. He's got to work his jab, got to come in behind the jab. And he's not going to stay out there for long because he does like to get it, maybe because he's a shorter fighter and all his other – he likes to be in close because he has that power. He likes to be in close where he can load up on a body shot, load up. And that's what I think is going to be interesting for me. Let's see what his body's like. Is it Martin's? See what punishment his body can take. That, you know what I mean? I'm interested to see that, because even though he's 5'8", his frame looks to be thin. It looks, I'm not calling it frail, but he looks thin. And Tank, you figure he looks a lot thinner than Tank. They're the same weight, but a lot thinner than Tank. Let's see what that body shot does. Let's see if he can work, see, can he take your body shot? So my keys for Tank, work in behind that jab and make it nasty when you're inside. Work the body, make it a fight.
Yeah. Both these guys are counter punchers. Yeah. So, and I've been reading a lot of previews and, predictions, what have you. And most have Tank winning this fight. But the key is, to me, and I agree with you, I think he has to do all those things. He needs to just do what he does, do his thing. I mean, to me, the pressure's on Martin to figure Tank out, not the other way around. And Davis needs to put the pressure on. I like testing the body. I think that's important. I think he's got it. I think the only thing he needs to be wary of, because everyone's got a puncher's chance, and Martin can punch. Martin's got some power. Yeah. I'm not saying he's on Tank's level, but hey, it doesn't matter. I mean, he can definitely hit, but Davis. I want to see him not try to load up for the uppercut. I know he wants to throw it, and I know he's gonna throw it, but he's got to just be careful he doesn't get too aggressive and maybe lose sight of what Martin does, because Martin's a counter punch specialist as well. So, but I agree with you. He needs to just stick to what he does and make Martin make the adjustments.
And here's the thing, and I was trying not to say it, but you said it. They're both counter punchers. And the reason I didn't want to bring that up, because I didn't want to speak it into existence, two counter punchers can end up being a boring fight. It really can, because they're both waiting for the other to get off. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Now, and I thought about that. The only thing I'm praying and I'm hoping that what Martin is saying, it doesn't, it doesn't even matter to me if it's true, because if it's true, I think he wants to go out and establish what he can do it again. If it's true, Gervonta wants him and his camp to know that was a fluke, him catching me. But even if it's not true, hopefully it's got under Tank's skin, him talking trash, to where he wants to go out and get this right. Because I'm worried about it, man. I worry about it being a sort of boring fight because they're both counterpunchers, both southpaw. You worry about southpaw stepping on each other's feet. You got to worry about foot placement, as we spoke about. Two counterpunchers. We're looking for fireworks because Tank always has them, but this could very well easily just as much be a wow. I was expecting more. It really very, 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 very small amount of chance, but it could happen. It could happen with that.
Yeah, it's a great point, and that is a concern by a lot of folks. I've been reading that and hearing that. And you're right. Yeah, anytime you're counterpunching, you're waiting for the other guy to make the first move. So it's just this giant chess match, and pretty soon you're dancing for 10 rounds in a 12-round fight, and it's like, look out! Where are we at in the cards? Martin for keys to victory for Martin. He can't afford that because there ain't no way he's getting a decision.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah,
but Martin has to keep his head on the swivel. Now, just stay with me, ride with me.
Okay.
Not saying it's Haney and Garcia. However, Haney, to me, you and I went back and forth to this. Haney won the rounds he didn't get knocked down in. Right? Now, there might have been some but however. Now, I'm not saying Martin is going to win and be able to outbox Tank, but we don't know. However, at any point how Haney was dropped by that crisp left hook, Martin can be dropped at any point by Davis' power. So he has to watch that. Now, that's what I'm saying, where just like Munguia was against Canelo, he wanted to get in there. He wanted to scrap. But you had to watch for the fire coming back. You know what I'm saying? We say, you got to go into the lion's den to do it, which the reward is big, but the risk is huge. You know what I mean? So my thing, Frank, biggest keys to victory. Again, work behind your jab. Work behind your jab. Don't get in your feelings. Stick to the game plan. Keep your head on a swivel. Keep those hands up to defend because you know the power shot's coming. And if they say the one that hurts you is the one you don't see. I don't care if he sees this. If Tank lands it, it could be good night regardless. So that, to me, Frank, keep it basic. Stick to your plan. Stick with your footing. Because, again, if they happen to step on each other's foot, say Frank catches your boy Tank as he steps on his foot. Remember, was it who stepped? I'm looking at it perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
When he stepped on Pacquiao's foot and knocked him out.
Was that Marquez?
Yes. He slept him.
Ooh, yeah, that was an ugly knockout.
But he stepped on his foot at the same time, not purposely, but that's what happened. If Tank hits Frank with that, it's good night. I don't know if Frank hypothetically hits Gervonta with that if it's good night. Could be, we don't know. But what I'm saying is everything has to go right for Frank because Tank always has that power as the equalizer. That we saw him get knocked out in the 12th round. We saw that. You know what I mean? So Frank has definitely got to keep his head on the swivel and stick to basics, to me.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with you. And I think here's the thing. If he's 29 and this is his first big fight and it's for a title. So if he really wants it, he's going to have to take chances. He's going to have to be a little aggressive. I mean, if what he's saying is true in sparring, he's got that going for him. I would definitely be watching that Cruz fight and taking notes because Cruz gave Davis the most trouble. Now, mind you, Cruz is a smaller guy like Tank, so a little different style, but the aggression, he didn't like getting hit in the body, Tank. And I know that. So that's something he's got to look at. I know he's got a nice lead right hook. Like I said, Martin's a strong, fast, he's a quick fighter. Yeah. He's a nice fighter. But I would agree with you. I don't know if there's any path to victory here per se in terms of strategy. I think he's just going to have to be aggressive, be willing to take some shots, but he's got to avoid that uppercut. He's got to avoid.
Got to. But here's the thing. But the uppercut is devastating, but that hook to the body can be. He dropped Garcia with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. On the flip side, when we're talking, I would think about this, and I've been thinking about this. If what they said in the sparring was true, is it Martin's camp Or does Martin, and I hate to say this because I don't want to put this out there about a fighter, because you're getting in the ring, so you have the heart, you have the desire.
Yeah.
Does he not want the big fight to be champion? And I say that because you're 29 years old. If you stopped Tank's boy, who you were supposed to be there just to get work, and then you put Tank on Quick Street, which no one has ever done in any professional fight, why is it just now taking you to get a professional? And it'd be different if people were ducking you like they duck Bud, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's doing that. You don't even have big names on your resume. You know what I mean? That's what I don't get. So what I understand taking a fighter slow when you're 19, 21, 22. Brother, you're 29. I don't get that why it's so slow. You know what I mean? And again, I'll be honest with you. I'm not sure what his thing was, why if he started so late. I'm not sure as well. You know what I mean? But if that is true, you rock Tank when no one else was able to. I'm surprised you hadn't jumped up and asked for bigger competition before that. You know what I mean? And what is he? I know Martin's not in the top 10. Excuse me. He's not in the top 5 of lightweights, but I know he's in the top 10. I
want to say he's 6th.
So what?
6th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So ride with me. Stay with me. Okay. We got Lomachenko, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got, of course, Davis.
Yep.
Shakur.
Mm-hmm.
Baranchek.
Yeah, he's got to be in there.
5. Who would I be missing? Zepeda, maybe? Zepeda? Yeah. Or Muratella. Who would you have? You can't put Muratella in the top 5, can you?
No, I wouldn't. I don't. I'm at a loss. I really couldn't answer.
But the point I'm getting at, regardless of how you have those guys, none of those guys are on Martin's. None of those guys are on Martin's record, win or loss. You know what I'm saying? That to me is, again, where you and I, old school boxers, how many top 10? You don't have any top 10 guy on your resume. I don't. You know what I mean? It just, why is that? If you rock Tank, why wasn't your camp pushing for bigger and better paydays? Yeah, I just don't get it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure his dad trains him. And I know his dad's out of Dallas, I believe. And Martin's from Detroit. And I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, the politics of sports. I mean, it's who you know. I mean, realistically, and like I said, I like him as a fighter. I like watching him. I think he's a nice fighter. I think this is going to be this should be an entertaining fight.
Yeah.
Barring and hopefully we don't see the dancing that we're fearing, being counter punchers. But I think at some point Tank's going to get impatient and then push the issue a little bit, and then we'll see what happens.
Last I saw, and again we've got days before the fight, so it could change. Yeah. But last I saw, over-under was 9.5 rounds. What do you got? Over-under 9.5 rounds. Do you think right now, what are you thinking?
That's a perfect segue right into predictions here.
Okay.
I'm going to go with that under. And if you're asking me what I think is going to happen, well, I'll tell you. I think it'll be interesting. I think it's going to be more of a chess match, dance contest, first 3 or 4 rounds, and then Tank's going to push it a little bit. I'm not saying Martin has no shot at this, because I think he's definitely got a puncher's chance, but I really see this being a 5-round fight, and I don't think it's going to go past that. I'm not going to say Davis is going to knock Martin completely out, but I think we'll see a stoppage. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So that's how I'm going to roll.
I'm also going under, but I'm going closer to 7 to 8. I'm going 7 or 8. Okay. Now, normally I always think you're going too low. But you're usually closer when the round prediction than I am, right? You normally are closer to the round prediction.
2 fights.
Yeah. But here's my thing, where this can all go topsy-turvy. It's going to come – will Tank attack the body early? And let's not forget, I have done some research on Martin. I couldn't find that video. However, Martin has had trouble with guys his height or shorter. Like if he can find, like he's really having his height, he's doing okay. But if they're shorter, he seems to, just like Fury, had problems with guys that are shorter. Fury say, don't bring guys shorter to me. And Martin has had problems. Now you have to deal with the power the power, you know what I mean? Yeah. It'd be different if speed was one thing, but there was no power behind it. You walk through those punches, you're willing to, get in there and mix it up. But he has problems with smaller fighters, shorter fighters, and the power is going to be the issue. I'm going to go with Tank too, also because I just don't have enough on Martin. We haven't seen him tested. We haven't seen him dragged into deep water by tough competition. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So having said that, I'm going to go. But even some of the guys we thought were tough and had competition, whether Garcia, Romero, Tank still disposed of them. But I'm going to go with Tank, man. I'm going to go with Tank. And again, no slight on Martin. I think he has speed, but now you have speed and power coming back at you. D, you know it. This is leaps and bounds better competition than he's faced. So we got to see it, and it's different. There's levels to this, and it's going to be different.
Oh yeah, definitely, and that's a great observation that he struggles with guys a little shorter because obviously with the 2.5 inches isn't that big of a deal, but when you're talking 5'8" to 5'5", it actually is more magnified.
Yeah. Really and the crazy part is, I don't understand why he had, just like Fury, who has a great jab, why you would have problems with a shorter fighter, because it's easier to punch down than it is to punch up. Yes. I don't get that. But hey, I'm not there at that level, but to each his own. There's a reason why, you know what I mean? But that's weird to me.
I think there could be a couple of things. One, he doesn't have the tremendous reach because, like we talked about, his reach and Tank's reach are basically even though there's a 2.5 inch height differential. You mentioned that he's, Martin looks thinner than Davis, and Martin probably would be better served to be at 130 with his power if he can do that, if he can make that weight. That would make more sense to me. But to me, if the only way you're going to take advantage of that is if you have a really strong jab and you use it as an offensive weapon, and that's how you should be doing. If it's just a rangefinder or a feeler, that you pretty much nullify any advantage you would have with your height because you're not taking advantage of it with the jab. That's the whole.
I got you.
But that's just my interpretation of it. It's who knows. But I think we both got Tank.
We both got Tank. I got him in 7 to 8. You got him in 5 or 6. 5, I got you. Okay, it'll be interesting. I'm good with that.
Let's talk about that co-main event. This is for the interim light heavyweight WBC title. What does that mean, Chops? By the way, I don't know.
Hold on. Do you mean what does it mean for interim, or what do you mean as in what the hell is the WBC doing? Is Benavidez is a champ at a lower weight. You mean to tell me you don't have light heavyweights 1 and 2 or somebody else that could be? Because let's not forget, Benavidez hasn't stepped up yet. And I was expecting him to in another year or so. I was expecting him to do it because he's always a big 168. But how in the hell is the WBC saying we're going to have a middleweight champ? Let's pull the 168 guy up and have him fight for it. So now if he were to win, he has 2 belts at one. I just didn't get why they did it. And I think they're figuring, like we talked about earlier, let's get this big name on there because even though he isn't as well known in that division, Benavidez is a bigger name than Gvozdyk. You know what I mean? So It really is. But I don't understand what the WBC is doing by picking Benavidez as a champion at lower. I don't get that.
Yeah, I don't either. And I the only time I'd seen Gvozdyk was on the Canelo Charlo fight. He fought on the undercard in that fight. But I don't know what your thoughts on this one are. I mean, I thought it was very strange that Benavidez went up to light heavyweight when he's really at 168, the super middleweight. But yeah, your thoughts on this one? I think it's intriguing.
Well, let's not get it twisted. Benavidez he's a big 168. He's a big, but also, so yes, I expected him to move up, but I expected him to do, like I said, a year or so you can do it the right way. Now, again, I don't know what he cuts down from. But there is a right way. It's not 130 to 135, 140 to 145. You know what I mean? 142, 145. That's 7 pounds. That's a big jump, man. That's a real big jump. And let's not forget, like your boy Gvozdyk, he's come down. He was a cruiser at one point. He was a cruiser. You know what I mean? So he's coming down. And we know he has strength and size.
Yeah.
Benavidez is a big 168. I'll give you that. So guys 168 aren't used to fighting guys his size. Canelo moved up the best there was, but he was just too small for Benavidez. Benavidez is now fighting a guy who's, look, I'm looking you eye to eye. I have just as much strength as you do. Now we're going to see if your 168 strength carries the 175. I know my strength is here. I know my strength is here. Is yours, Benavidez? So I'm interested to see how it goes in that aspect, because we'd have to believe Benavidez has the bigger toolbox, the better fighter. But don't sleep on Gvozdyk. Don't sleep on him. This could, if he gets his hand raised, I wouldn't be surprised if he beats Benavidez. I would not be surprised.
Okay, yeah, I got this one as a close one too, because I think I just watching that fight on the Charlo undercard with Canelo, and then seeing some tape. He is a strong guy. He's a tough guy. What you got a prediction for this one?
Oh, well, okay. Both of these guys come at you. This is almost like it could end in any round because they're coming to bring it. Because okay, and real quick, the old saying, people born round don't die square. Benavidez stalks everybody. He stalks everybody at 168. He is stalking you. As soon as they say ding ding, his mindset, all he hears is unleash hell. That's what he hears. I'm going to be interested to see. You are what you are. Is he going to be able to? I don't care how much they change this camp. I don't care how long for this camp was. What, 8-12 weeks? We're going to box. We're going to do that or whatever. And you can work that great in sparring in a controlled atmosphere. Soon as that bell rings and you get hit, you're going to go back to what you know. I'm interested to see, is he going to be able to stalk a bigger man? And when I say bigger, because Gvozdyk is at least walking around heavier 99% than Benavidez. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Benavidez, Gvozdyk may not be significantly stronger, but you got a 9 chance out of 10 he's going to be stronger than Benavidez. You know what I mean? So I want to see, are you going to be able to stalk a bigger, stronger guy? And if he does, how does he take being stalked? Because you know what I mean? So I'm interested to see how all that plays out. I really do. I really am, man.
I mean, me personally, I'm obviously looking forward to seeing Tank Davis, but this fight might intrigue me more than that one. I don't think there's much doubt in the Martin Davis fight who's going to win. There is some doubt here, to your point. Like, Gvozdyk this is his natural. He came down in weight. Benavidez coming up, so I think it's a great point. I think it's gonna be a sneaky good fight, and I think people are gonna be impressed with that. I'm gonna say Benavidez by UD. I don't see him losing on the cards, but I think it's gonna be a much better fight than people anticipated. But we'll see. That's just me. I think Benavidez is a hell of a fighter, though, and he's aggressive. But Gvozdyk's tough.
Here's the thing. Because I've seen Benavidez fight more, I want to say Benavidez. That's who I'm more familiar with. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to pick Oleksandr. I'm going to pick Gvozdyk only because, like I said, he's coming down. He's a bigger guy, stronger. I'm going to flip it up a little bit. I'm going to go with Gvozdyk. I am. Now, you're talking about, I don't know if it'll go to distance. I think now somebody may get knocked out in the championship rounds, 10, 11, 12. I'm going KO. Benavidez never. I know that's bold. I know that's bold. I know that's bold, but I'm going knockout. I'm going TKO. Maybe, I don't know, maybe TKO or legit knockout, but I don't think it's going 12.
That would shake things up. That would definitely shake things up.
But here's the thing, okay? Because you brought it in, does it? And I say that because Benavidez is fighting with house money. He's not even a 175 guy. He's 168.
That's a good point.
If he loses, but it's close, does he jump up to 175 faster? If he loses and it's just a clinic. He's outboxed, he's beat up. Does he go back down to 168? Like your boy Canelo, he wanted to move up to Benavidez. He got beat up. He got manhandled. He's back down to where, you know what I'm saying? So how do you see it in those scenarios? What are you thinking?
I think you're onto something there because, obviously if he doesn't have a good showing in this fight, it doesn't make a lot of sense because I mean, Gvozdyk's a good fighter, but there's better at that weight. And if he can't handle Gvozdyk, how's he going to handle a Bivol or better Biev, right? And that's the fight coming up that was postponed. It's going to be, I think, in October, I believe they rescheduled it for. So that's going to be a hell of a fight. I would agree with you. If he makes a good showing and he feels comfortable at the weight, and obviously if he wins, there's a big decision to make there, and it would make sense to move up there. But man, I tell you, when you move from super middle to light heavyweight, it's a significant power jump.
And people don't think that, but it is. Here's my thing, though. Here's my thing. Benavidez, right? Let me see. Okay, he last fought. Now it was November, late November. He fought November. Do you understand why he's taking this fight? And I say that because I understand you may want to tune up before Bivol, but that's the money shot. That's the money fight. But now he's moving up. Mm-hmm. So the risk here is, if I lose, what have I lost? Because I'm stepping up in weight. But if I win, I get the belt, which is, I guess there is more to gain than lose. So I guess I can say, I guess answer my own question, because I was like, why take a fight where you could possibly lose when the big money fight is right there? But he doesn't have as much to lose, because even if he loses this, he's still 168 champ. He's still going to draw. He's still going to demand and command that money when he and Bivol get it on. I get it. So I get it.
I don't know what the purse is going to be for him. I don't know what he's getting. Being co-main event with Tank Davis, I'm sure he's looking to get the draw.
Yeah, but here's also the thing. Depending on who his team is, because Benavidez is young. He's in his 20s. I know he's in his 20s. He can't be older than 28. I know that. Mm-hmm. He has big names. He set his name up. He's not waiting until he's 29, 30 before he has his first title fight, right? Yeah. So I'd like to think that his camps is smart. They know what they're doing, his handlers, right? Mm-hmm. So having said that, they know what they're doing on the aspect of, hey, there's all upside on this and no real downside. Because even if you get TKO'd first round, you still go back down to 168 where you're king. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm interested to see that. And maybe he has a bit of that throwback fighter in him to where, like, I'm the king at 168. Let me go up and test myself at 175. If I lose, okay, I know I got a little bit of work to do, but I'm still only 27. Yeah. You know what I mean? So now as we talk about, I'm seeing the upside to making this move.
I guess the big question really becomes, if he's able to win this fight and look impressive doing it, does that put even more pressure on Canelo now to say, okay, I better because did you see Oscar De La Hoya's post a couple of days ago?
No.
Yeah, he was digging at him again at Canelo about he's avoiding Benavidez. And
but here's the thing:
took the Munguia fight and made everybody money, but he gave him a middle finger and laughed at him. It's like, okay, he's trying to make that happen.
Okay, what did they fight at? What did they fight at? 50.
What, Canelo and Munguia?
Yeah,
that was at 168.
It was.
Yeah, super middleweight. Yeah, I believe it was.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know. Okay. Yeah. Then on that aspect, well, there comes a time when every head must bow and every tongue must confess. Canelo knows him. He knows himself. And maybe he just knows, I can't beat Benavidez. Every fighter has some, you know what I'm saying? Everybody has their nemesis, and that one fighter can have your number. And maybe Benavidez is the guy that has Canelo's number. Really, you know what I mean? So, and Canelo, yeah, and you can goad him and all that. But also on the same token, how can I say this? De La Hoya is no better than Canelo on the aspect of Canelo's doing what's best for him, making money. Yeah. De La Hoya is doing what's best for him, trying to make the money or whatever. He can promote this, that, and whatever have you. So that's what he's doing, because he knows Canelo can't beat Benavidez. He knows that Canelo knows he can't beat Benavidez. And, okay, maybe Canelo says, let me get one or two more fights where I can make nice paydays again before I fight Benavidez. Because if I fight Benavidez again and lose, I'm no longer a big draw. Right now, I'm still a big draw. You know what I mean? There's business aspects to it now. Because before it was, You think you can beat me? No, I think I can beat you. We both can't be ready. Let's get it on. Guys don't think that way anymore. You know what I mean? So I see what De La Hoya is doing on a business aspect, but certainly Canelo's got to be smart enough to realize I'm going to do what I want to do. And maybe he just knows, his camp knows, we rewatched the tape numerous times. You were just beat up. There's not much we can change in this game plan to come with Benavidez. We just can't. I don't know.
I think it comes down to strictly size. I really think Bivol is just physically a bigger man than Canelo, and he was able to just keep him at bay and pound on him.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm correct. You're saying I was saying Benavidez beat him. Bivol, yeah.
But Benavidez will do what probably would do the same. Now Kovalev, when he fought Kovalev, that was a gamble.
Yeah.
Huge name, and then he knocked him out, and it's like, damn. Oh wow! And then I think that, and obviously that's why he took the Bivol fight. But then it was like, okay, now reality.
Yeah, but let me ask you this real quick: who in your mind is more aggressive, Bivol or Benavidez?
Benavidez.
Exactly. To me, when you see Bivol and Benavidez, I don't want to say the same fighter. They share a lot of the same characteristics: bigger, stronger. They come at you. But Benavidez is more of a monster. He's more that boogeyman. And why step up if you already? I understand if he would have beaten Bivol, even if it wasn't pretty, but I got the decision. I don't want the rematch because it may not go my way. I'm going for Benavidez because I want that big payday. But you lost to Bivol, so what De La Hoya is doing, trying to get him to come back to fight Benavidez, it doesn't make sense. On Canelo's side or from his camp side, it just doesn't. It just doesn't. And right now, let me ask you, in the fact that he didn't look spectacular against Munguia. I like Munguia, but he didn't even look spectacular against Munguia. Lost to Bivol. So now you're going to come up to fight a guy, Benavidez, who some will think can beat Bivol. How much money are you going to draw? I don't know. The eyes will be. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be all about one. Do they really think Benavidez will draw with Canelo? And I think we'll find out a little bit in this one, because if you look at that card, other than the Tank and Martin fight, this is it. This is the only other fight with any names. So I don't know. With that price tag on it, I think that's going to tell us the story a little bit, at least.
Yeah. But you know what bothers me? The fact that we're talking about Canelo, first ballot Hall of Famer, Benavidez, who's a monster, and we're worried, to me, with legit concern on the one hand, if this fight can draw numbers. Meanwhile, we're looking at Tyson and Paul to sell out. Tyson is my guy. I love him. He's 60. Paul has one fight against a real boxer and lost.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So Tyson and Paul and these other, whoever he's fighting, are selling out, making big time millions, and real boxers, where can they get the draw? We're asking. That to me chaps my ass and even makes me upset at myself that I would question that. But again, that's the era that we're in. God, people don't care about what's real. Everything has become WWF, WWE, WWE.
Oh,
it just. Oh, I hate it. I hate it. Hate it.
Hey, I mean, I like a guy like John Saunders. Remember him on ESPN? He's
yeah, and ABC Sports.
Yeah,
yes. Sports reporters.
Fantastic. Man. Now, not exciting enough. No hot takes. No BS.
Nothing.
So we don't want to see that.
Nothing, man. Nothing. Listen to me, man. Saunders loved him.
Yep.
Late great Stuart Scott loved him.
Yep.
Right. I don't care how you felt about him, but Dick Shapp. I used to like him. A lot of people did. I liked him. They brought it, and they were sports reporters. They went at each other. They let it be. Nowadays, it's just, I don't know, man. And even in sports, every sports guy, different sports, wants to talk great about his opponent on the other team. You don't have to call him names. You don't have to talk about his family, but you don't have to love everybody and just automatically say everybody deserves the bag, everybody deserves it, because not everybody does. And this jersey swap and after games, do that in the tunnel. We're opponent. That to me bothers me. But again, I am the old guy, get off my lawn type of guy. I say it all the time on our original sports podcast. I'm the old guy, get off my lawn. So it's just different to me now, man. It's just different.
Hey, speaking of that, before we wrap this up, Chops, what do you guys got going on the original sports podcast? Anything coming up?
Oh, yeah, man. Actually, in honor of Juneteenth, this Tuesday, I believe, which will be what? The 11th. The 18th. It's the 18th, excuse me. The 18th. We are doing a show dedicated to all Negro athletes. And they're and not like I'm telling you now, I don't want to do like the Michael Jordans and the Tiger Woods. Everybody knew them. Jordan refused to speak on racial issues, so I don't want to give him that podium on June 18th. Tiger Woods denounced his blackness, and he said he was other races, whatever, so I don't want to give him that, but we're bringing that up and different things. We're talking about some of the old Negro players and how baseball put that in and different things of nature. So we're talking about that. So I'm really interested in that. I'm interested in that.
That sounds good.
Yeah, I'm looking for that to be a big one. And we'll be on live Tuesday the 18th, 7:05 Eastern on Facebook. We go other places, and you can see us later that night on Roku channel. Real quick, man, we had ESPN Top Rank Boxing last weekend. Mm-hmm. They had Shushu Carrington fought and Xander Zayas, right? They both look good and won. Now, Shushu's guy, Brian De Garcia, took the fight on 10 days' notice. It still took him 6 or 7 rounds to get him out of there. Now, he looked in control every round, whatever have you. Here's the crazy thing. Inoue was there. Inoue came to see Shushu because that could be his next opponent. I thought Shushu was 19, 20 years old. He looks young. Shushu's 27, but he's only 12-0. How do you only have 12 fights? What we were talking about, Munguia, I loved him. Young guy, 40-some fights or whatever, but no championship bouts until just recently, right? Talking about Martin, 29 years old, only 19 fights. Lomo had a few mount fights, but Lomo was going for belts quick, fast, in a hurry. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Usyk, not a whole lot of fights, going for belts in a hurry. Yeah. But what I'm thinking is, Shushu looked good. He really did. Crisp. He did take some punches. Didn't get hurt, but took punches. Now, this guy, Brian De Garcia, on 10 days' notice, was hitting you, sticking you. Inoue would kill this. He would hurt this kid. He would hurt. And I hate to call him 27 a kid, but you're 12-0, and I know boxing, you're the iron is hot, and I get that. And maybe you want to draw the names, and Inoue will draw the name, and that'll be a state here in a fight here for the states. But I just didn't understand how, once I started researching and realizing how you would even put a 12-0 guy in with Inoue. Just not ready, man. He just isn't ready. I wish you'd have seen the fight, man. He looked good, but you realize you're looking good against a guy on 10 days, and this is not Inoue. There's a difference to this, man. Difference.
Yeah, it's a great point. I didn't see the fight. I did see the pre-fight where he bowed to Inoue. He saw him in the crowd, and he acknowledged him. It's good. Yeah, I mean, he probably wanted to make a little better showing. Although on 10 days notice, like, sometimes two things can happen. One, you don't know the guy, and you're very cautious. Or two, you've seen enough, and you know he can't hurt you. You're like, you know what, I'm going to get some work in.
Maybe.
But then again, that's a smart thing to do. But financially, it could hurt you.
Yeah.
Here we are talking about it, we're having doubts, and I'm sure we're not the only ones.
I tell you what, man, Inoue was strictly business. Now, mind you, Shushu wasn't the main event. Xander was the main event.
Yeah.
Inoue's there. He watches Shushu. They announce the winner before the commentator is in there to speak to Shushu. Inoue's leaving. And they showed it because Inoue, he wanted to acknowledge him, and he said he's gone. Inoue was there to see his future competition possibly get right. Because man, you can watch tape, but not the same as seeing it live. You can you pick things up live that you may not see in tape.
Right.
And honestly, man, he'll respect his speed because Inoue's been hit time too and dropped in his last fight, came back to win it. I'm a fan of Shushu now. I really am, but I don't think he's ready for. I really don't. I just don't think he's ready for Inoue. I just don't. There's levels, and he's not on Inoue's level now. Young, 12-0, 0-0. That could sell tickets, but if you truly care about Shushu, he's not ready for Inoue, though. He's really not. Well, not.
Like even when Keyshawn Davis fought, Keyshawn Davis fought Inoue, right? And
yeah,
I like Keyshawn a lot. Not quite ready for that fight, obviously, and a little early. Another guy I like a lot is Boots Ennis, and a lot of people like him. But
but at some point, these guys are going to have to jump in that ring of fire. They're going to have to. You know what I mean? And even if you're not ready for the belt and you want the paydays, call out another top 5 guy. Call out a couple of top 5, or call out a top 10 this one. Win, then call out a top 5. But you guys got to get these names on your record. You have to. And if they're ducking you, we knew that Crawford was being ducked because he let it be known they're ducking me. Guys, if you want Boots, these other guys, if you want these bigger names, call them out. And if they don't, then let it be known. But you've got to get more big name fights. And I still think, Martin, you're about to fight Tank. You don't have one other top 10. And to me, you might have wanted at least one top 10 opponent before you take Tank. But maybe it's like I can get hype, and I'm just picking these numbers arbitrarily. Yeah. If I go with Tank now, I'll get a $5 million bag. Where if I'd have went against a top 10, I might only got a $3 million bag. If I'd have lost, I lose. If I don't look spectacular, then I don't get the Tank bag. It's you know what I mean? But you would like to see some big names, or at least 1 or 2 big name fights on a guy's resume as he's going into a top 1 or 2. You would like to, but hey, it is what it is. Things have changed.
Yes, they have. But we keep watching, and we're still fans. But yeah, we long for those glory days of the true 4 kings. But I know they're trying to say we got the 4 kings now, and many people are like, not yet. We're not there yet.
No, they don't know. And honestly, if I'd ever hear, well, I can't say ever, but as of right now, if I would hear somebody say we got the 4 kings, what weight class are you going to talk about? You got great competition in certain weight classes. Don't say the 4 kings. Don't say the 4 kings. That to me is blasphemous. Yeah. Whew, man, that gets me hot even thinking about somebody calling themselves 4 kings.
Oh, let's call them naive.
Yeah, there you go.
Watch some tapes. Watch some video. Hey, Chops, thanks for joining once again. Always love having you on here. Don't forget to check out the Original Sports Podcast on Roku, Facebook. They're on YouTube. Great guys. You guys talk a lot of good sports, and I can't wait to see that episode next week for in honor of Juneteenth. That's going to be awesome. So for Michael, go ahead.
And you know it, man. I can't thank you enough for having me on. We love talking boxing. So, and hopefully we'll have some other things going on this summer. But again, Drew, appreciate it. Thank you for having me on, and willing to pick my brain and listen to what I got to say.
Hey, I appreciate you coming on always. As always, take care, Chops. Take care. Thanks everybody for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to like the video. Let us know what you want to hear. Let us know what you think, if you agree or disagree with some of our predictions. So for Michael Big Chops Mills, my name is Drew. Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon. This has been the Sports Peninsula Podcast. To subscribe to the podcast, simply click the subscribe button on our YouTube channel's homepage and give us a like. You can also follow our audio podcast on multiple platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Google Podcasts, just to name a few. Give us a follow on Twitter. Our handle is @SportsPPodcast to check out our latest releases. Thank you again for watching and for your support. Remember, when you want to hear all about sports in the great state of Michigan, there is only one Sports Peninsula Podcast.